Are there ways, like sites or stuff like that, to just find a whole list of competitions that you can enter in?
Musicalchairs.org or .info, what is it? .info has competition listing there.
Okay.
And Kurt, what's his name? Kurt
Sussman House.
He has a website. I forget what it's called. He's at the Cincinnati College of Conservatory Music. He has a website that has all the major. I don't think it's just violin, but for violinists it's definitely.
Or just Google cello competition.
Yeah. And I'm president of my state chapter of ASTA. Do you know where ASTA is? Anybody? Okay.
American String Teachers
You guys should all know ASTA.
Yeah.
It's a huge competition. Okay.
Oh, ASTA.
Yeah. So they have all that. Every summer camp listing you could imagine, every competition listing you could imagine, and they have a national solo competition, which is great. So.
Any more questions?
Yeah.
Ife.
Like if you want to write a contract like gigs, what would you put on the contract?
I had a standard, when I was your age, not your age, a little older, had a standard contract that I got, I think, either from the union or some blah, blah, blah. But basically, you put, you know, the two parties involved. You put things like your price, you know, how much they owe you, when they're going to pay you, you know, 30 days in advance or at the gig, what form of payment, check, do people even checks, cash, whatever, you know, mailing address, things like that.
And important also in these business dealings, so almost all you can via email, so you have a paper trail, virtual paper trail, because then you have proof. You can go, these phone conversations, you're like, click, I never said that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So keep it all online.
And there are templates. You could that's something you can Google. You know, a music gig contract template. Make sure something in there too about like if you cancel the day before, you still have to pay me.
Yeah.
Or if I show up and you have an outdoor wedding and it's raining and there's nowhere for me to, you know, you have a nice tent or something, but there's nowhere for me to set up.
I'm going home.
Yeah.
I'm going home and you're paying me, right?
Yeah.
That happens a lot, and maybe even if they're not trying to take advantage of you, they're just like, well, you didn't play, I'm not paying you, and you're like.
And then there gets to be the point where, like me, I have a manager that does all that stuff, and he and she, two, man and woman, they are my bulldogs with dealing with it. They're the ones that do the contracts. They're the ones that get on the phone and have the nasty phone conversation about the hotel that wasn't covered. They're the ones that do all of that stuff, and I just get to go and be like, oh, it's so nice to play for you. Let's have tea, you know, whatever. But so eventually, depending on what you go into, you could also have a manager and an agent that does that for you. But it's important to know what they do.
Yeah, and I think it's important. I had contracts when I was 15, 16, 17, 18. I really did. And definitely in college when I did all the wedding gigs, because brides don't like to pay. Like, they don't like to pay on time, and they like to undercharge. That's my experience. But they will spend a ton of money on food, and it's like, you know, and a videographer, and you're like.
Tobias, did you have a question? You just stretch.
So for Carlos, did you look for a manager, or did a manager find you?
We were presented with the manager, and we were very lucky. I mean, I'm amazed at what we have done in our short time, because we have colleagues that don't have management, that are doing great things and stuff. No, it's, but we're still very impatient. We're like, we haven't done anything. You know, we're so lazy. But it's not true. So we were lucky in that respect. But usually, you have to sort of get out there, connect with managers, and send them recordings and ask, would you represent me? But with that, you have to understand these people are very expensive. They don't work for free. They do work on commission, but you also have to pay them on top of that some kind of annual fee. And some people charge for phone calls. Every time they pick up the phone for you, they're charging you. Sometimes they charge for staples and highlighters and, you know, envelopes. And they'll send you a bill for office supplies, literally. So, you know, when shopping for a manager, if you're trying to look for a manager, find out if you're interested in paying for all that garbage, you know what I mean?
Or if you can do it yourself.
Or if you can do all that yourself, and maybe you just need a booking agent, you know? But also, sometimes people will approach you, you know? If Josh's album blows up, a manager might be like, oh, I think you're the best thing since the Beatles, and I want to represent you, you know? And so that happens too. Things happen in many ways, but if you're reaching out to management, be sort of know all your stuff about what they do and what they're offering.
And make sure your manager is really connected. There are a lot of managers out there that are not connected. And there are a lot that are actually connected, but make sure it's like someone, because managers, you know, a lot of times like to talk a good game.
Yeah, that's their job, to look fancy.
Yeah, to look fancy.
But the really most important thing, if we're talking about management, two most important things, one more than the other, but both equally important in a way, is that this person is your bulldog. This person is your like lion fighting for you, like aggressive, on the phone 24 hours, trying to get you work, like into all like the social media, into everything, like totally 21st century cutting edge, just fighting for you, and that you feel that this is like your gladiator, because that's how you work, that's how you get jobs. Second thing is that you feel that this person will give you the time of day if you wanted to talk to them, or if you send an email, if they send you an email right back, if they're available to you. So them being available for you and them fighting for you are the two most important things when finding a manager.
Oh, I have another question. How do you guys do taxes and all that stuff?
That's like regular people.
Accountant.
Yeah.
It's just really difficult when you're a musician. Get a musician accountant. They're not that expensive, actually.
Wait, these are all repeaters.
Yes.
Who has new questions? Sorry.
This is more out of curiosity, but how do string quartets even get formed?
That's a great question.
Most string quartets get formed when you're in school. You're thrown together in a group because you're required to take chamber music in a music degree. And you're like, wow, this is the most fun I've ever had with these people, and I feel like I can really be myself, and they play so well that they inspire me to be the best that I can be. And so let's stay together like for another semester and like take a whole semester to learn like 2 movements of a string quartet. And they get coachings, and so then it lasts another semester. Let's do like a little competition locally. Oh, we won the competition. Let's stay together again. What's our name? You know, and they make this little dream quartet like in school type thing. And some of those quartets are the quartets that you know that are famous and professional today, and that's how they started. And they're the ones that have the leg up because they're the ones that got coachings. They're the ones that could play busted concerts and no one cared because they weren't getting paid for it because they were in school. And then there are quartets like mine, which is very rare, that we were sort of formed as a sort of wanting to start a new chamber ensemble, sort of like making the band. Our thing is more like the way pop music stuff is formed, and it's not the best for string quartets because knowing each other and working together is the most important thing, and that works well.
Yeah, okay, but how did you like meet Carla and
Paul? Yeah, that's her name. So Carla went to the Cleveland Institute of Music, although she started the year after I graduated, and I was living in New York. But we met at the Aspen Music Festival. Remember we talked about summer music festivals and how you meet friends, like here you meet your friends that you're going to know for a long time. We met at Aspen in 2003, and we became friends that summer, and we had a lot of mutual friends, and we connected that way. Paul, I met on a tour. Actually, Paul I met at the Sphinx competition because the year that the Catalyst Quartet debuted at the Sphinx competition was the year he won the senior division. And so we were sharing like a next neighboring dressing room. But I had known his brother, who was a terrific violist, also his younger brother. His sister is also a great violist. I knew his brother before I knew him because I was on tour with his brother with the Sphinx Virtuosi, which was then called the Sphinx Chamber Orchestra. And like Sami, who's playing with us here, I met Sami at the Great Lakes Chamber Music Festival. No, that's not even true. I met Sami in a hotel room. We connected professionally at the Great Lakes. But I met Sami in a hotel room in New York City because a friend of ours was in town playing with it's called the New York String Seminar. And I was part of the chamber music portion of that, so I was connected, and she had just arrived, and we were like, oh, what's your name? Oh, Sami Medina. That was like in 1990, that was in 2000, or something like that, and I had just moved to New York 2001. Yeah, it was Lexi. It was Bill Cruz of the Consummation Orchestra's daughter.
So you guys just had communicated like, hey,
we stayed in touch, and our paths crossed here and there, and then it all sort of makes us what? Jessie is pursuing her composition right now, and she's taking a leave. Oh, how did I meet her?
Yeah.
Oh, Jessie I met in my apartment. I had a friend staying. I met Jessie the first few weeks I moved to New York. I had a friend visiting from Cleveland, and who she had known from Meadowmount, which is another summer program. And so he was going to stay with me for a couple of days, and then I was going to stay with Jessie. So she came to pick up our friend to take him to her place, and so Jessie came into my house. And I gave Jessie side-eye, and I was like, who is this person? And then she was like, who's that person? He's so, like, regal and scary. I don't know what's going on with that guy. She had this whole, like, story invented about me. And then we didn't really know each other for a while. And then she came to teach at the Sphinx Performance Academy the third year it was in existence. And then we really connected for the first time, and then became good friends after that.
Yeah, more of that story. It's a small world.
Yeah, we all know, the faculty, we all know each other from other places. And we come together and through Sphinx, but like, a lot of us met each other before Sphinx. And
Yeah,
very interesting.
for a long time we've known each other, and so you don't get away from people in this music world. So you know, don't burn bridges.
Yeah. Like a good example is I met Janina. We were like 8 or 9 years old in Interlochen. No,
Wow.
seriously. Yeah.
I met Matt in a hotel room too.
Nailed it. I was Sphinx competition. I was a baby. I was 17.
And I met Jen. I don't even know where we met.
99, you know, Encore.
Oh, Encore. Okay, another
I
summer
was
program.
17, gonna be 18.
Yeah, I was
Or 18,
105.
maybe 19. Yeah. Summer camp, we met at summer camp. Cameron.
Okay.
Wait, 2 more questions. Cameron and someone else.
So, oh my God.
You've been waiting for so long.
Okay. So, I'm also stuck in between playing an orchestra and being a soloist.
Right.
But the thing is, so I really like to practice, but I don't want to practice
How old are you right now?
She's 13.
13.
Here's what I'm telling you about soloists. Soloists, you have to like being alone. And you have to like being on planes. And you have to like practicing. And you have to non-stop. And you have to, your best friend has to be your cello, and that's it.
I mean, your only friend.
Your only friend. And so it's a very, very hard life. And some people, a good friend of mine, her name is Elisa Weilerstein. And she's now one of the great cello soloists. We were in the same graduating class in Cleveland. And she's a colleague of mine. She lives down the street from me in New York. And I know her life. And it's not easy, but the thing about her is she is naturally gifted for that life. So it's not a struggle for her. She has the ability to have a jukebox of concertos in her head. And I think that a soloist brain, soloists, it has to be a hardwired, like, natural thing for it to be a successful career path. It has to sort of be innate that you retain tons of repertoire, that you have iron nerves, and thick skin, that you're super personable and can be on TV and all that stuff. Me, I had a few things that I could do, like soloist stuff, but like I was more interested in being with my friends and communicating with other people through music. So like a string quartet is like 4 soloists, because you have to play on that same kind of level, you have to travel and all that stuff, but it's a little bit diluted. You also make less money because you have to divide your fee by share it, with these other people. But I think the life is worth it for me, and that was my thing. I just feel like if you're thinking about being a soloist, think long and hard about it, because it's not the easiest path. And unless you just have the natural, like your wheels on the ground, and it's just like that's just the way it's gonna go. Think twice. Yeah. Sorry to be like the deal breaker, but that's sort of it's really true.
It's a lot. Michelle, last question.
Oh wait.
Oh, Maggie.
Maggie had a question. She didn't ask a question. No, we
No,
had
no,
one more.
it's
One
okay.
question.
Oh,
Michelle, anyone can ask us questions.
After.
Later, yeah.
By the end of the week. If you have more questions, we love to talk.
I'm looking to buy a new instrument.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know a way
to get there, like financially? Is there any tricks I can?
Empower.
Yeah, Empower's the best.
What is
Empower is a scholarship program. It's not a scholarship. It's a grant program that the Sphinx organization runs. And now that you've gone to the Sphinx Performance Academy for one summer, you are eligible. And it's one of the simpler grant applications out there. And given that the talent pool is limited, your chances are higher. And find out about the Empower scholarships on the Sphinx website or through Xavier, because he deals a lot with that. But Carla and I just got awarded like many thousands of dollars towards buying our instruments that we play on now. And we're in New Mexico, is that right?
Yeah.
Well, Robertson's is in New Mexico in Albuquerque, and they're a terrific shop with fine instruments and like middle range instruments. And the people there are really terrific about working with students because they're just amazing. And if you talk to them, you could maybe come up with some kind of payment plan, or trade in all the things that you own. And but like all the instrument, they have this bow that's worth like $250. They'll take it for $250.
My old violin.
Yeah, I have my old violin, whatever it is, and they can maybe work with you because they're great and you're in the same state. They might want to help somebody from their home state. You don't have to have like $1 million in a bank account to get an instrument. There are creative ways to go about that. Just talk to people and ask what they're willing to make a deal.
There are also competitions to get instruments.
Yeah, loans of instruments. Virtue.
Loans of instruments, yeah. There's those.
Maestro.
But I will say, as an orchestra player, a lot of people, eventually when you have to do this for your job, you have to buy a nicer instrument, right? And so there's a really famous, the Houston, actually, credit union. You're probably too young for this, but the Houston Credit Union has an actual, like, great, really low interest loan for instruments, specifically. So what you do is you pay $5, open up an account to be a member of this credit union, and they give you this crazy, like, 10-year low-interest loan or something, and it's really common for orchestra musicians to buy their instruments through this actual Houston.
And unions, local unions, like Local 802, which is my musicians union of New York, has instrument sort of funds and stuff like that. So there are ways to do it.
Often schools will have loans. Michigan gives I think a $20,000 loan. You pay it back, but it's lower interest than like a bank loan, for instance. And it's access to that money. Play, like when we're saying, like when you have a gig that maybe is not going to pay you enough, but why you might do it. But play for rich people. I mean, because I had a friend. I had a friend in high school. You want to have a nice instrument. It helps you to play better. I had a friend in high school. She played for some Florida women's something or other. And they were like, oh, we have this instrument here, take it. It was like, it wasn't a great instrument, but it was much better than what she or I was playing on. She just played an afternoon concert for them, and they were like, we really want you to have this, you were great. And she borrowed it for like 6 years or something.
A friend of mine has a $3 million cello that he plays on, he's a soloist, because some old guy really liked the way he played at Riverside.
Yep.
So
play a lot. Have people hear it. Don't expect it, but play.
You never know.
So that brings us to the end of our business of music.